So I decided to draw one random scene from Wings of Fire and also talk about my feelings from it. First, I put all the books into a list of 17, with the first 15 being main series books and the final 2 being the Legends. I was too lazy to add in the Assassin winglets and the other winglets though. I ended up rolling Winter Turning, which was a 7, so I flipped to a random page in the book. And there it was, page 284. In this scene, Hailstorm has just told Winter the truth about the Diamond Trial after they killed Foeslayer for the first time. I'm going to read you the passage and a tiny bit of what goes on after that. Starting off on page 282, "Why didn't it work?" Winter asked. "I'm not frozen." He looked around at the other statues. Something whispered in his mind an explanation, although it still didn't quite fit together. "Right," Hailstorm said. He turned to look at his brother. "That's because it's not part of the original enchantment. The spell on the Nightwings isn't what froze these dragons." He lifted his spear. "That's what these do. That's what I'm supposed to do to you." Winter was silent. Everything was starting to make kind of awful sense. "Mother and Father told me earlier today," Hailstorm's wings drooped before. "They told me no matter who killed Foeslayer, I was the one chosen to win. That I was going to take the spear and stab you the same way I stabbed her, freezing you like all these other dragons. That I was guaranteed first place." "Do they do this every time?" Winter wondered. "Choose one dragonette to win? Tell only that dragonette the secret of the spears and how to freeze the other?" He shouldn't have felt surprised or betrayed. Of course his parents would choose Hailstorm. This was really quite normal given the patterns of their lives so far. But still, it still hurt deep inside him, where he thought his family couldn't hurt him anymore. "Moon, Keebly, and Kingju wouldn't do something like this to me," he thought. "All right," he said out loud. "Then I guess that's what you'll have to do." He set down his own spear and braced himself. "You know I can't," Hailstorm snapped. "You're the one who rescued me. You're my brother. I'm not going to murder you now. So, you're just going to have to do it to me." He tossed the spear to Winter, who jumped aside and let it clatter to the ground. They stared at each other for a long moment as the rush of the river below filled the cavern. All the frozen dragons seemed to be waiting like a captive audience enjoying the suspense. "If we can't kill each other," Winter said, "maybe we leave it like this. You go out and claim victory and I wait to sneak out later. We both live." Hailstorm shook his head. "As soon as you got home, they'd throw me back into last place and probably you as well." "I won't go home," Winter said. He felt a lump forming in his throat, like frost breath icing over his windpipe. "I'll stay away from the Ice Kingdom." It didn't sound possible. His whole life was about being an Icewing, being Queen Glacier's nephew, proving something to Tundra and Narwhal. He believed in the perfection and superiority of the Ice Kingdom. How could he ever be happy anywhere else? But now he'd been to so many other places. He'd seen the world beyond the Ice Kingdom, and it wasn't so terrible really, because happiness is not where I am, it's who I'm with. And he knew exactly who he wanted to be with. Hailstorm's claws curled in and out, as he thought. He reached out and picked up one of the diamond-tipped spears, and Winter felt a quick bolt of fear that his brother decided to kill him anyways. But Hailstorm just bowed and took a step back. "Thank you, brother," he said. I hope one day I'll see you again." Winter nodded, not trusting himself to speak. Hailstorm turned and flew across the chasm. In the entrance to the tunnel, he paused, glancing back at Winter, and then he fled, his footsteps echoing behind him. A long time passed. Winter tried to keep track of the hours in his head, calculating when it would be dawn. Finally, he stood up, stretched, and picked up the other diamond-tipped spear. Taking a deep breath, he reached out and tapped Foeslayer with it. The ice around the Nightwing cracked and splintered just as it had before, and Foeslayer slowly opened her eyes. Surprise flashed across her face when she saw Winter there. "This is a first," she said. "I've never been brought back by the same dragonettes before. Did you want a chance to kill me too? It seems a little over the top, if you don't mind my saying so." "Listen," Winter said. "I don't know if you even realize how much you stole from us when you took away our animus magic. The gifts of light, of order, and running like a hidden current through every dragonette's understanding of himself, the gift of faith in their tribe that came from the indisputable wisdom of how Icewings handled their magic. Imagine what our kingdom would have been like if we still had animus dragons," Winter went on. "What else could we have invented?" "I suspect you wouldn't have stayed in your little kingdom much longer," Foeslayer answered him. "Have you considered that your perfect tribe might have used the magic for evil as well as good? Was that true? Would we have done something terrible with it? What kind of gift might Queen Glacier have asked for during the War of Sandwing's secession?" He shook out his wings. "When you stole Prince Arctic, You stole all of our future gifts, everything we might become, and I can see why some dragons would think that's unforgivable. His scales felt heavier and heavier as he went on. But this imprisonment for centuries, keeping you alive only to die over and over again. I feel like perhaps you've been punished enough. Focalors turned away from him and rested her talons on one of the frozen dragonettes, hiding her face. After a moment, she said in a muffled, fractured voice, "I didn't steal him." "Prince Arctic?" Winter said. "I didn't steal him." Focalors lifted one wing so she could meet Winter's eyes. "I fell in love with him." An entire history of a tribe, the story of a war, the foundation of an ancient hatred, it all shivered in Winter's mind like stepping onto the thinnest layer of ice. "And he loved me too," Focalors said. "That's the truth. Although no Icewing has listened long enough to hear it before." Everything was splintering apart. "We didn't mean to ruin everything," she said, "or start a terrible war, or make two tribes hate each other for all of eternity. We just wanted to be together." He believed her. He wouldn't have a month ago, but now he believed her because he knew exactly how that felt. Because he could imagine throwing everything away too for a chance to be with Moon. If they dared to start something, could he and Moon end up as badly as Focalors and Arctic? Would he risk it, even after seeing where it might lead? "It's different," he told himself. "Queen Diamond cared very much what happened to Prince Arctic. No one cares at all what happens to me." "So, now you know," Focalors said, rolling the spear over to him. "Ready to kill me?" This passage was a turning point for Winter's character. He could no longer rely on his tribe and their prejudices, and now that he was considered dead by them, his only option was to open up to the dragons from other tribes. He also begins questioning them on his own. Now that he knows that the kidnapped Animus thing was a lie, what else were the Icewings lying or wrong about? I've seen a lot of people say that Winter was character assassinated in the books after this one, but I think that's wrong, and he stays on a pretty consistent arc. Winter had a right to be angry after Darkstalker killed half of his tribe and Moon wanted to act like he was a nice guy. And he didn't even mean to hurt her. He was just angry and knocked down the vase. Moon even admits that this was better for her, and she didn't like how everyone else was lying to her about how bad Darkstalker truly was. Him joining the Icewings in a battle was a bit out of character, but I could see it happening as he felt like the other dragons were dismissive about his experiences. This is my last video I pre-recorded for the month of July. I will not have a Sunday upload to give myself some time off, and I will hopefully be returning to uploading next Wednesday or Friday. Don't quote me on that though, it's been almost a month since I've said this by the time you are watching it. If anyone else wants to take on this challenge, feel free to do so. It's not exactly original, so no need to credit me. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who are already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. Peace out.